There is a quiet turning point in life that almost no one talks about. It does not arrive with fireworks or applause. There's no sudden spotlight or dramatic soundtrack swelling in the background. In fact, most people miss it completely when it happens. Yet it is one of the most powerful shifts a person can experience. It is the moment when wealth stops being something you chase and starts becoming something that works for you. For most of our lives, money feels like something that lives just out of reach. We wake up early, trade our time, our energy, and often our peace of mind just to earn enough to stay afloat. Paychecks arrive, bills follow, and whatever remains tends to slip quietly into everyday expenses. It can feel like running on a treadmill that never slows down. No matter how fast you move, you stay in the same place. But somewhere along the journey, something begins to change. It rarely feels dramatic at first. Sometimes it's almost invisible. It might show up as a small investment growing quietly in the background. It could appear as a business that begins generating income without your constant attention. It might even emerge as a collection of smart financial decisions that slowly start creating opportunities instead of obligations. The real transformation begins when your relationship with money shifts from survival to strategy. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that while you slept, something you built or invested in quietly generated value. Not because you traded hours for it, not because you pushed yourself harder, but because you planted something earlier that continues to grow on its own. That realization can feel surreal. It challenges everything most people are taught about work and reward. From a young age, many of us absorb the belief that effort must always be directly connected to income. Work more, earn more. Work less, earn less. It feels logical, almost unbreakable. Yet wealth, in its most powerful form, plays by a different set of rules. True wealth begins to grow when effort is applied in ways that continue producing results long after the initial work is complete. It is not about working less, it is about working differently. It is about placing time, energy, and resources into systems, skills, and opportunities that can evolve independently of your daily presence. Some people discover this through investments that gradually appreciate. Others experience it through creative projects, intellectual property, or businesses that develop loyal audiences or customers. And for some, it arrives through long-term financial discipline that compounds quietly over time. There is something almost magical about watching progress happen without constant supervision. But beneath that feeling is a very real principle. Wealth tends to reward patience, consistency, and foresight far more than speed or intensity alone. It does not necessarily mean unlimited luxury or instant financial freedom. Instead, it represents a powerful shift in direction. Money stops being only a tool for survival and becomes a partner in creation. It begins supporting your goals instead of controlling your choices. What makes this moment so profound is how it changes perspective. When wealth begins generating wealth, time starts to feel different. Decisions become less reactive and more intentional. Stress that once felt constant may begin to loosen its grip. Some people describe this stage as feeling like gaining breathing room in life. Others describe it as gaining the freedom to think more creatively or pursue opportunities that once felt too risky. But there is another truth that often surprises people at this stage. When wealth begins working for you, responsibility grows alongside it. Managing growing financial resources requires awareness, adaptability, and thoughtful decision-making. Markets shift, industries evolve, economic landscapes change. Maintaining and nurturing wealth often requires continuous learning and careful attention. According to many financial experts and economic observers, individuals who sustain long-term wealth tend to focus less on short-term trends and more on adaptable strategies. They pay attention to risk, diversification, and sustainability. They understand that protecting wealth can be just as important as building it. At this point in the journey, motivations often evolve as well. The focus gradually shifts away from simply accumulating money and toward using wealth as a tool for impact, stability, and legacy. Some people begin supporting causes they care about. Others invest in education, innovation, or community development. Many begin thinking about how their financial choices can influence future generations. And this brings us to a fascinating emotional shift that rarely gets discussed. When wealth starts working for you, success often begins to feel less like achievement and more like stewardship. It becomes less about what you can gain and more about what you can sustain, protect, and grow responsibly. Right around here, something else tends to happen, and this is where many viewers might feel a renewed sense of curiosity. Because the moment wealth starts working for you is not always permanent. It is not a finish line. It is more like stepping into a new phase of the journey. History and economic research show that wealth can be built, lost, rebuilt, and transformed many times across a lifetime. Market fluctuations, personal decisions, and global events all influence financial landscapes. Some reports suggest that individuals who maintain long-term financial stability often focus heavily on adaptability rather than rigid planning. This means the real power of wealth is not just in its ability to grow, but in its ability to evolve. Those who thrive in this phase tend to stay curious. They continue learning. They remain aware of changing opportunities and risks. They understand that comfort can sometimes lead to complacency, and complacency can quietly erode progress. At the same time, this phase can unlock something deeply personal. It can allow people to redefine success on their own terms. For some, success becomes about freedom of time, the ability to choose how to spend their days without constant financial pressure. For others, success becomes about creative expression, philanthropy, or building meaningful experiences with family and community. And interestingly, many individuals who reach this stage report that their definition of wealth itself begins to change. Financial stability often creates space to value health, relationships, personal growth, and purpose in ways that may have felt distant during earlier struggles. There is also a psychological transformation that researchers sometimes associate with financial independence. When survival pressure decreases, cognitive energy often shifts toward creativity, long-term thinking, and emotional well-being. While experiences vary widely, many people describe feeling more aligned with their values once financial stress becomes less dominant. Yet the journey toward this moment rarely follows a straight path. Setbacks happen, unexpected expenses appear. Economic shifts can challenge even the strongest financial plans. The path toward wealth that works for you is often shaped by resilience more than perfection. Many people who eventually reach this stage share stories filled with trial, error, adjustment, and persistence. They describe learning through mistakes, adapting strategies, and gradually refining their understanding of money and opportunity. There is something deeply human about this process. Wealth is often portrayed as a destination, but in reality, it is more like a constantly evolving relationship. It grows, changes, and responds to the choices we make and the environments we navigate. As this relationship deepens, something subtle but powerful tends to emerge. Confidence built not from luck or sudden success, but from understanding. Understanding how money moves. Understanding how value is created. Understanding how patience can transform small beginnings into lasting stability. And perhaps most importantly, understanding that wealth is rarely built overnight, but it can begin working quietly long before it becomes visible to others. This realization carries a profound emotional weight. It reminds us that progress does not always need applause to be real. Some of the most meaningful transformations happen in silence through consistent decisions made day after day. Now imagine looking back years from now and recognizing the exact moment everything shifted. Not the moment you earned more, not the moment you saved more, but the moment your effort created something that continued growing without demanding constant attention. That moment often feels like stepping out of a storm into calm air. The noise fades, the urgency softens, possibility expands. And here is the final reflection that makes this journey so powerful. The moment wealth starts working for you is not only about financial change, it is about reclaiming time, choice, and direction. It is about building a life where money supports your purpose instead of dictating your path. It is about planting seeds that continue growing long after they leave your hands. It is about creating stability that can support dreams, families, communities, and future possibilities that may never even know your name. That is the quiet legacy of wealth at its most meaningful level. If this perspective sparked new thoughts or helped you see money and opportunity from a fresh angle, take a moment to show your support by liking this video. If you enjoyed deep conversations about growth, mindset, and long-term success, consider subscribing to the channel so you do not miss future stories and insights. And most importantly, share your thoughts in the comments. What does wealth working for you mean in your own life journey?